combining integers. In order to combine integers, we need to consider a visual representation of what integers are. If we look at this red square right here, that indicates +1. If we look at the white square, it indicates -1. Together, they create 0. You can think about it as two football players on a field. One is the red team, the other is the white team. When they tackle, there's nobody standing. Okay? Mathematically, we can write it as the equation +1 for the red, -1 for the white tile, and it equals 0. So if you notice, they are opposites. When you combine opposites, you get 0. We're going to use tiles to evaluate some expressions. If we think of +2, that would be represented by 2 red tiles. And +3 is 3 red tiles. So +2 plus 3, I see 5 tiles on the screen. So the answer is +5. And when I do -4, subtract 3, -4 is 3 white tiles. -3 would be 3 white tiles. Combined, I've got 7 white tiles. To give me -4 minus 3 is -7. Is there a conclusion you can make about combining tiles with what you've seen? Take a minute, pause the video, draw some tiles where you're adding positives or adding negatives only, and see if you can come up with a conclusion. Once you decide if you know the answer, move on to the next screen. And hopefully you've come to the conclusion that when you combine two numbers with the same sign, all you need to do is add the digits and keep the sign. For example, -2 minus 4, they're both negatives, so we add the 2 and 4 together to get 6. We keep the negative sign. +2, +4, again, they have the same sign. So we add the 2 and 4 together, we get +6 because we keep the sign. Now what happens when the signs are different, as in +2 minus 3? Well, +2, we use 2 red tiles. And -3, we use 2 white tiles. Now way back at the beginning, we talked about the fact, that a +1 and a -1 give you 0. So that's a 0 right there. And if I drag this over, I've got a 0 there, and I'm left with 1 negative. So +2 minus 3 gives -1. Now remember, you're trying to look for a pattern here. So see if you can come up with one as we go through the next example. +4 minus 2. Well, +4 is 4 red tiles. -2 is 2 white tiles. And again, I'm going to make my 0 models because every time I have a pair of opposites, they become 0, and I'm left with +2. Well, the last example, the answer was negative. And in this example, the answer is positive. Pause the video, draw some pictures with tiles, and see if you can come up with a pattern before you move to the next screen. So hopefully you've realized that when you combine two numbers with opposite signs, you're going to subtract them, because 4 take away 2 left me 2, and 3 take away 2 left me 1. And hopefully you've figured out to look at whichever digit was bigger. Here the 3 was bigger, so the answer took on its sign, which was negative. Here the 4 is bigger, so the answer takes on its sign, which is positive. So just to recap, when two numbers with opposite signs are combined, we subtract the digits and keep the sign on the larger digit. So if we look at -3, +7, we have opposite signs. We have a -3, we have a negative and a positive. So we're going to subtract them. 7 take away 3 is 4. And 7's bigger than 3, so the answer will be +4. If we look at the next example, we still have the same two numbers, 7 and 3. Their signs are opposite, so we subtract them. But the 7 is larger this time. Oh, well, it was larger last time, sorry, but its sign is now negative, so the answer will in fact be negative.